We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Scholars of Wrestling episode of the new year.
Yay!
Yay! Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Hope you had a Happy New Year. Now it's time to back to business.
Yes.
The time of drinking up your sorrows of 2014 has long gone.
But what if you didn't have any sorrows of 2014?
Well, if you're
you're a very happy lad.
Well,
yay!
Think of the case of being a wrestling fan. To look back at the year 2014, there were plenty of sorrows for you to drink away.
Well, I mean, the first 4 months were pretty good.
Yeah,
and then
4 months out of 12?
Wait.
Well,
I can honestly say that 8 months out of the year were pretty good, but September through.
Well, let me put it this way. Yes, there were good moments, but you have to agree there were a lot.
There were a lot of crap.
There were a lot more bad moments of 2014.
There was a lot of crap in 2014.
And that's what this episode is all about.
The best and yes, this is our annual best and worst of the year show. Looking at the best and worst moments, wrestlers, matches, everything in between of the year 2014. But first, I understand you guys got a little something to say about this past week's Raw.
Well, nothing in particular. It's just to look back at the final Raw of 2014, and it was actually the best Raw in the past couple of months.
That's very true. Definitely agreed. Ryback cutting a promo that has nothing to do with bullies. And actually, okay, this is the watered down version of what he talked about on the Talk is Jericho podcast.
Yes.
It's the watered down, cut for TV time recap of what he said on the Talk is Jericho podcast, but I am now more proud to say that I am a fan of Ryback in front of other people.
Really?
You were closeted?
I was closeted. I was a closeted Ryback mark.
You heard it here first. Brian is now out of the closet.
I am out of the closet
and
on
there
Ryback.
is nothing wrong with that.
On Ryback. And
he's Ryback and proud.
It makes it... It's the one thing I disagree with CM Punk on. Is Ryback. Sure, he's a little messy. He's a little sloppy. But he's not the only one. You were pretty sloppy at times yourself, CM Punk. Just saying. But I expect big things from Ryback, and if they're allowing him to cut this promo, okay, it means that I expect big things from Ryback in the coming year.
I agree with you. I've always liked Ryback. I've always liked the big guy. I always thought he was capable of a lot. That said, this promo really didn't do anything for me at all. I think
really?
It felt, yeah. I thought it felt kind of flat.
Well, the whole thing was, okay, for me, okay, I'd already heard it. More explained, more fleshed out. Okay, so I was like, I can see how this promo won't do anything for anyone because this is like bare bones. This is bare bones.
Right.
Not people who don't listen to podcasts as like life's work or whatever. Going to like I listened to Jericho's JBL podcast this morning just because I could. So a lot of people won't understand the full story. They got the bare bones, and I can see how that would be like. This promo still wasn't very good.
It's not that the promo wasn't very good, and I don't look at it as the bare bones. Yes, it was less detailed than the one that was on Jericho's podcast, but I look at it more as the straightforward, no details aside. It's just him explaining his career. No details on anything, which is what the podcast was for.
Yeah.
This one was just straightforward, to the point. And it was honestly the best thing for Ryback as a character and for a way to get everyone to connect with him. Before, he was just the big guy that was just the big guy. We didn't really know anything about him. He just dominated over everyone. Now he actually went into who he was. Ryan Reeves, Skip Sheffield, Ryback. We got to know...
Name dropping the Nexus, which I thought was pretty cool.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It got us to know Ryback, who he is.
And what this makes me think, okay, is they are building up Ryback to be the one to take down Rusev.
I
Once
would
and
like
for
that.
all.
I definitely would like that.
And I am down with that. I said he should have done it at Survivor Series. But if he does it in a one-on-one, even better.
That works.
And if he's cutting this promo in the build-up for that match, yeah, it's happening. It's coming.
What a great way for it to have built up for this feud at the Survivor Series match. Instead of Ryback being the first eliminated, because we all can agree that was the dumbest choice they could have done.
Dumb.
Yeah,
With
that
how
was
much,
pretty bad.
especially with how much they were building on both teams trying to get Ryback on their team. Having him be the first one eliminated on Team Cena, because Mark Henry was eliminated first in the whole match.
And that was because he was injured.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
I figured that out.
Yeah, now it makes sense.
I was like, what the
But
hell?
Yeah, what would have been better for both Ryback and Rusev is for them to eliminate each other by countout. Them going at it so hard, them taking each other out outside the ring, and they both get a double countout, eliminate each other. So neither of them had to be pinned, or neither of them could have been pinned, and it would have put more meat into this feud that they were really going for now.
Now this feud had nothing until this promo.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can sort of see that just because the way they've been handling Rusev for so long. That being said, I really didn't have any problem with the way they handled Ryback in the actual Survivor Series match, just because I was looking at it from as the Survivor Series match as a whole, where it sort of contributes to that element of anything can happen, and it's just like an absolute war, a big fight feel. So for me, in that particular instance, it worked.
And he got caught off guard.
Yeah, in that case, it worked sort of. Or at least it was acceptable in my eyes. I definitely see where you're coming from as far as how you would book this longer term, but let's face it, this is WWE. Sometimes it was.
There is no longer term.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah, sometimes you're just lucky to get what you do.
I will say, at least they made it so it took more than one guy to take him out of the match.
Right.
It was just.
Yeah, he
I
got
think it was
hit
just.
by like 4 people.
It was just
Right.
honestly completely dumb that he had to be the first one.
I just
Eliminated.
don't think it fits with the storytelling going into the match.
And looking at
What
how,
do we know?
And looking
right?
looking how each member of that team are at now, it could have made more sense if Rowan got eliminated first.
Yeah, still do the same things.
Yeah, just
But-
change the order. But
Yeah.
that it's over. That's more.
Yeah.
It's over.
All right,
That's in the past. Look for Ryback to be the one to end.
Now we got
Rusev's.
some real meat in the Rusev Ryback feud, and we're ready to feed me more. Feed me more. Okay, we're done.
Okay. I was gonna say if you went for a third, then I would be like, okay, I'm getting you guys off.
And now, to every goodness in this, there has to be something bad
Something bad.
that came out of this Raw. We're done with Ryback. Of course, we're continuing with Raw.
Yeah, I'm
and
trying
if you
to think
don't,
of what was so bad.
if you saw the post I put on Facebook, you know exactly what it
that.
is. Yes, I hated everything that had to do with the return of Wade Barrett facing Cesaro. From Cesaro first being in the ring, at first I'm like, oh good, Cesaro's on TV. It's the first time I've seen him in weeks. What's going to happen here?
And he's speaking.
And he's talking. He says, I wait to get something off my chest. I'm like, ooh, I'm intrigued.
Promo.
Then he started going off and saying, it wasn't a year for him. He was the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He is like one of the best people they have. And you had the people applauding him because they know it's true. And I'm just like, this is honestly the best thing that he's doing right now, that's going for him right now. And what happens next?
He gets some bad news.
No, not even that. even before that.
Then he immediately turns on the crowd.
He immediately turns on the crowd. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is really, like, reaching a boiling point for me for WWE. Actually, before the show, I said that I was trying to think of a good moment for later tonight. I have a moment.
Uh-oh.
I think I have plenty of moments.
I knew you would.
And, like, he goes heel. Yeah, he goes in a heel promo. And he messes up saying 4 ropes, but I understand what he was really going.
4 sets of ropes.
4 sets of ropes.
I don't really consider that big of a deal.
It's not a big deal, and he corrected himself. Yes. And my response to that is people mess up on the mic all the time.
LOL foreigners.
Exactly. And what happens? And then what does it all lead to? The return of a face Wade Barrett to take him out, to basically be fed, to have Cesaro be fed to a newly returned face Wade Barrett. And it wasn't even like a face win either. He had to eye-rake him and then pull the bullhammer. If this doesn't lead to something, yeah, let's have a little feud between Cesaro and Wade Barrett, just so it'll help both guys in the near future. That would actually be worth that, because now they would have a reason to continue a feud, start a feud. But if this leads to nothing, and nothing comes from this, no mentioning of it ever again, I'm going to lose it. If Cesaro doesn't show up, if Wade Barrett doesn't do anything spectacular, I would just be yelling a big F-bomb to WWE.
I'm just going to say this right now. Bad News Barrett was meant to be a heel character.
Yes.
Okay. Now, was his zing still pretty good for the Bad News? For Cesaro? I did like the zing. Okay. It's just... I thought it was corny. It's me. It's me. It's B&B. Are you out of your mind?
That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, are you kidding me? Wait, this B&B is a heel character. They can't face it. Look at The Rock. He was insulting everyone, and the people loved it. He was insulting the people. The people were like, yes, we want more of it. The Rock didn't change his character to become, like, when he turned face. He still was his character. He was an anti-hero. Now it just sounds, from what it's doing, it's me, it's B&B. It's more of a face factor.
A couple things in defense of this. Again, I get it. I get where this is coming from. But at the same time, this is only... right now, until I see otherwise, I'm just sort of treating this as just like a one-off, just because, hey, Bad News Barrett is back. That's cool. That's it.
I agree.
However,
yes, there is a light at this.
Yes, and again, to me, another reason why this doesn't affect me as badly is just because that's one thing I absolutely love about this time of year around Royal Rumble time for WWE. So many different possibilities, so many different things that can come out of any one of these angles. So I know it sort of seems like a cop-out to sort of take a wait-and-see approach, but I'm going to have to take that wait-and-see approach because I'm not necessarily convinced that all hope is lost.
It's too soon for me to be like, I understand, okay, because it's been such a long time that Cesaro has been taking the MVP, the Drew McIntyre, all that crap, but I do believe that something will come early this year that will change Cesaro's fortune, and Bad News Barrett is back. I'm Wade Barrett, and so it's like, did I like the segment? No. Did I hate the segment? No. It was just kind of, oh, Wade Barrett's back. Oh, that's good. Okay. I can move on now.
Oh, I had plenty of positives to come out of this, but I had more negatives coming. Yes, I 150% agree with you too. Wait and see what comes. Okay, I'm gonna just say right now. Here's what I want. What I want to see. Here's me fantasy booking. I want to see Wade Barrett go after Dolph Ziggler's Intercontinental title, and Cesaro cost Wade Barrett the match, which will lead to a triple threat feud for the Intercontinental title between Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, and Wade Barrett.
Now I'm interested.
That's one thing to do.
That's one thing. That is one thing to do.
That's
and
one thing to do, and it would be awesome matches all the time. And yeah, which means it'll never happen.
So like I said,
not necessarily.
Yeah.
Hey, it's certainly more plausible than some of the other theories I've seen floating around at this point in time.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, moving on from a negative thing, let's go to a positive for something for you, fool.
Yes.
That happened on Raw.
Daniel Bryan is alive. That's it.
Did you get that?
That's
Did
good.
you hear the yes in that?
That's good.
I think that yes was intentional. Was that
Hold
yes
on.
intentional? Or was that just out of the blue?
No, that was a happy coincidence. Yeah. I
will
know it's very early on to say. I know that there's a lot that can happen. A lot of different possibilities this time of the year. You know what? At this point, I genuinely do not care very much. At this point, when so much was up in the air as far as Daniel Bryan's health and his career, would he ever wrestle again? Thankfully, we got our answer, and that answer is yes. Yes, he will live again.
I'm going to put it this way.
His future is something completely different. That's a whole nother topic. But
I'm going to put it this way.
Daniel Bryan's alive. That's all I'm happy about right now.
I am happy that he is back. That he is able to wrestle. That he is able to entertain us the way he did before he left. Okay? I'm happy about that. I am not happy about the implications that this has for the Royal Rumble event itself. Whether we talk about that now or whether we talk about that later, just know I do not want Daniel Bryan to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay, and would you care to explain your rationale for the people at home?
Okay.
Let the match begin. Ding.
Round 1, from the black corner.
My main problem, okay, is it seems like him winning it this year does not seem earned to me. If he had won it last year, when he had the storyline of the year, it's Daniel Bryan versus the Authority, the underdog, coming from nothing to win the Royal Rumble and go on to win at WrestleMania. It would have been earned. I would have loved it, and there's a reason why something is going to be on my list later that has to do with that. That would have been earned. Okay? That would have been earned. I would have loved it. It would have been good. This just seems like the WWE saying, I know I screwed up. We screwed up last year. We didn't even put you in the Rumble match. Here, have a Royal Rumble victory. I do not like that. It brings back parallels to what happened last year. When someone made a big return and was like, here, we're gonna give you a Royal Rumble victory that isn't earned. It brings back those parallels. Guys who... I never liked the coming back from injury to win the Royal Rumble. I didn't like when John Cena did it. I didn't like when Edge did it. Even though Edge's kind of made sense. I didn't like when those two happened. And this would just be another one where it doesn't make sense. And also, I do not want to see another 2-month run of Daniel Bryan's the underdog. He has to overcome all the odds and beat Brock Lesnar. I've seen it before. I'm over it. He went through so much last year. You're gonna bring back the underdog angle? I don't think he's an underdog anymore. Okay, at this point, I would and this is where it might go off the rails. I would rather see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar than Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. Boom. There goes the dynamite.
Okay.
Round 2. Ding.
Okay, the rebuttal. The revenge. Okay. I agree with about 95% of what you just said.
And I know the 5% that you don't.
Yes, you do. You do. You really do. I see what you're going at with the whole return angle. However, one thing I would disagree with you on is that he doesn't deserve... Tark, shut up. That he doesn't deserve it.
I don't think he deserves it this year.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me clarify. I understand what you're referring to, like there's no build-up, and absolutely, yeah, in that sense, I would agree. However, that doesn't necessarily mean he's not deserving, because there's a different dynamic at play here. Daniel Bryan is one of those guys who seems to be universally over. What happened with the whole Royal Rumble incident in 2014 was it was more than just a guy who's just coming back and winning. It was also a guy who was coming back and winning at the expense of a guy who was pretty much universally chosen as the people's champion for months and months and months on end. And that was, again, that is a very extreme rarity and just doesn't happen all the time. I get where you're coming from with you not liking that, and I can see how you wouldn't. But again, there's also a excuse me. There's also a universal. There's a very different component at work here. Sure, there isn't a lot of storyline build-up, but in terms of worthiness in the fans' eyes and the sort of reactions that he's getting, what we're looking at is a rarity where I can see this actually working. Where if he does end up winning the Royal Rumble, it will be not deserved in the storyline that they're producing, not undeserved in kayfabe, but deserved in the manner of this is a returning face, a universally over returning face, a massively over returning face, and if he does win, the dynamic that I see happening here is not, okay, we know we screwed up, here's one for free, I threw it on the ground. That's not what's happening here. Instead, if we do get the big heroic victory here, then we do have also another rarity in the sense where we have post 2014 Daniel Bryan, who we know can wrestle up a storm, who we know can, do whatever. Now we have a legitimate. You say it wouldn't be a real underdog story. This is if it was anybody but post streak ending Brock Lesnar. Then I would see what you're talking about, and then you would have a much stronger point, and I probably agree with you. The reason I can see this happening not only because of the dynamic that both men bring to the table in a rare form of, okay, this is one of the few instances where Daniel Bryan can actually legitimately look like something of an underdog compared to some like man monster like Brock Lesnar. But if you look at it another way, seeing as how speculation is pointing at Brock Lesnar going back to UFC after this could possibly be our one and only shot at seeing Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar ever happening, ever. So in one sense, yeah, I can definitely see that there's an element of, an apology, but not so much of one that overrides the possibilities of what we're going to get from a Daniel Bryan Royal Rumble win. But again, that's not been my focus.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. In my eyes, okay, I don't see anything good coming out of a Daniel Bryan Royal Rumble victory, okay? I don't want to see Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar.
And that's fine.
It's like, I'm like, I get that other people want it, okay? Other people want it bad.
Okay, let me play it a different way. You say that there's other guys who deserve that slot better, the slot of a Royal Rumble victory. Of course, I'm sure you know all my thoughts about Roman Reigns taking that spot. I still don't feel like he's quite ready for that spot yet. Other than Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, who else could possibly take that spot? Dean Ambrose?
My whole deal is organically. Okay. I agree with you about Roman Reigns. You have the thing from last year where he got the record for Royal Rumble eliminations. So there's one guy right there. You have a guy who took out basically 4 members of Team Authority by himself with a little help.
Ziggler, you mean?
And Dolph Ziggler. Okay. Talking about guys who are universally over. Okay. You have Ziggler. You have... I would not give it to Ambrose. I wouldn't give it to Ambrose, but if you're talking about universally over as one of your criteria, he's one of them.
I'm not talking about...
I'm just saying. Okay, I'd rather see someone who's been around recently. Like all you've seen of Daniel Bryan is a pay-per-view promo here, a GM appearance here. Okay, say what you want about Roman Reigns and his crappy promos and all that, but he's been around while he was out. Okay,
if we're
say
talking
what you
about
want
continuity and we're talking about just general overness and just being present, Dean Ambrose has that by a country mile.
Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. I'd rather see the two of them.
Dolph Ziggler, I also believe, would have that underdog quotient nailed. If he can maintain this level of overness and he actually wins the Royal Rumble, then I can conceivably see Ziggler versus Brock Lesnar being good.
Yeah, and I'd honestly like that more than Daniel Bryan because Dolph Ziggler's been here the entire year. So that would be my fan pick. My fan pick would be Dolph Ziggler.
All right. Again, we've also got weeks and weeks to go.
We've got weeks and weeks to go. Minds may change.
Under your own criteria, though, this is going to be the last thing I say about the Royal Rumble and the results for right now. Under your own criteria, I would much just a guy being around forever and just being around all year. Under your own criteria, I would have to pick Dean Ambrose, just because he would be a decent alternative for as opposed to any of the other guys, and just seeing him sort of come out as a wild card against an MMA and wrestling expert.
Think about it. Brock Lesnar comes out and he's like, I'm gonna do bad things to you. I'm gonna kill you. Brock Lesnar's gonna kill you. Funny. And Dean Ambrose is gonna come out and I'm like,
whatever. I'm a spider monkey.
You can try. I don't care. And then just come straight at him.
That could be fun. It's not my ideal pick, but it can still be fun.
It's fun, and I mean, like, you have in my eyes, you have more organic possibilities. I don't like someone just getting thrown in at the end, having no storyline build up, and just be like, hey, Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, go on, take it.
And you know what? I'm sure we're going to be talking about this for weeks and weeks on end. So, personally, I think we should just put pause on this whole debate right now. Before we move on,
Brock Lesnar be like, I'm gonna do bad things to you.
I'm gonna bop you one. I'm gonna bop you one.
You were holding that in for like
it was hard because as soon as you said it, I'm like, why do I feel Brock Lesnar would say
when I said
I'm gonna do bad things to you?
I'm like when I said that and I saw the look on your face, I was like, oh god.
Okay, speaking of stunning promo work, does anyone else have something to say about the closing moments of this past week's Raw?
Tell you what, I did not believe when Seth Rollins turned that he could be a convincing heel. Well, prove me wrong over and over and over again. Okay, that's it.
That's okay, I'll kill him anyway.
That was so... Okay, that moment right there that you just said, I'm going to kill him anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Immediately popped into my head is that scene in Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. When he finds out that Batman
what the heck? I'll laugh anyway.
It's like, you're just a little boy crying for mommy and daddy. It would be funny if it wasn't so pathetic. What the heck? I'll laugh anyway. And he just goes on. I'm like, that's Joker material right there, and it was brilliant.
It was awesome heel work from Rollins.
It was
as well.
Beautiful heel work from Rollins,
and they brought back the Authority.
Yeah. He has completely sold me on the heel turn. Remember back, okay, we were not certain about Seth Rollins being the one to turn heel. Well, guess what? I'm in the camp. I'm out of the closet again.
When
Seth Rollins made you come out of the closet?
Yes.
Oh
he
my.
did.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Well, he does seem like a very talented man, so you've got nothing to be ashamed of, Seth.
When he actually started going on, when he was a member of the Shield, going on against, he was the architect of the Shield, I'm just like, you know what? This is perfect material for him to be as a heel. And so when he actually hit Roman Reigns with the steel chair, I'm like, this makes perfect sense.
This does make sense.
This makes sense. A lot more than the whole possibility of Dean Ambrose turning heel. With the more they were making him more into a... I hate the term, the lunatic fringe.
Do they understand that the more crazy they turn someone, the more the crowd likes them?
Exactly.
This is WWE we're talking about.
And so... From the whole, I think Dolph Ziggler said it best in the backstage reaction to this. Like, as much as I'm like, okay, it actually, I'll say the negative point, and then I'll go on with my positives. Dolph Ziggler was absolutely right. What was the point? And it was just for them to get off TV, yeah. But I can actually overshadow that with looking at it as a positive thing, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm very happy the Authority is back, because ever since the end of Survivor Series is when WWE storyline telling was at a very sour point for my taste. At first, they were hinting the return of the Raw GM, and I'm just like, ooh, I like this idea. It was an interesting storyline idea that I thought it's Triple H still keeping power, but no one knowing it was him. I was like, there's possibilities.
People stalling for time.
They immediately dropped it the next week with John Cena saying, close, that's the end of it, and they're doing guest hosts.
Yeah, and it was stupid.
The whole thing was just, and it made past weeks, it made Seth Rollins look weak. It led to TLC, which I'll paste my opinions on later. I guess, hint, hint, wink, wink.
Oh, that's going to be brought up. And
at least it brought out pretty much the best things for Seth Rollins for the final Raw of 2014. This was the best thing that Seth Rollins did post Bye Bye Authority.
Definitely, I agreed.
And this makes me think that he will be a worthy champion when he cashes that.
Oh, he will be.
I second that. That.
I had my doubts when he first won, but now
John Cena giving in to bullies.
To bullies. He really did. I didn't even think of it that way. John Cena gave in to bullies.
John Cena never give up. Bullshit.
Well, guess what?
Wow.
He gave up.
Lies.
You lie to your teeth, John Cena.
Wow, that little line, the way you put that just makes it so much better. Suddenly I feel a lot more optimistic about the future. But before we get to the future, before the future is now, blah, 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 let's get to our best and worst of 2014, shall we?
Let's do something that WWE seems to flourish in doing, and that's looking back to the past. Oh! Jab! Oh. Stab!
Hey!
Boom!
Hey!
Suck it.
And maybe we'll actually get it right where they did not. Okay, that's it.
The future's full of possibilities.
I can say this. Magic. I don't think any of our best superstar of the year is going to be, yeah.
It's not going to be Roman Reigns.
It's going to be Hornswoggle.
All right, get out.
Get out, you're drunk.
All right,
no.
So let's get started. First off, Wrestler of the Year. I'm not going to even say Superstar. I'm going to say Wrestler of the Year. And honestly, at this point, from my perspective, I know everyone's got their opinions, but just with the way early 2014 happened, and just even for the rest of the goings-on for the rest of the year, I have a real hard time giving this to anybody but Daniel Bryan. With the kind of beginning of the year he had compared to where he was last year, I've got to give it to him. What do you guys think?
You know,
what's your pick? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, let's start with picks, and then we'll just quickly have a little go at it for like a few minutes.
Yeah.
A few minute discussion between each.
So you are Daniel Bryan. I'm picking Seth Rollins.
You're not wrong. He had a very strong year.
Pick your. Quickly explain why you chose him.
basically, okay, he's been around all year. He's been great all year. He's had great match. I don't think he's had a disappointing match the entire year. And he's built his character to the point where I don't recognize this guy from the guy who was... I don't recognize this guy from last year. And in that case, okay, the most changed, the most consistent, boom, Seth Rollins, Superstar of the Year. Looking forward to big things.
Two very good choices from both of you. But I'm actually going in the similar thing of what Jeff mentioned, that very limited appearance, but even though he made little appearances, he made, in my opinion, the biggest impact. 'Cause he was only in a few matches, but it's matches that we can talk about for a long time. Made historic moments. And I'm going to choose Brock Lesnar. Mainly because
that's fair.
Even though he's only had he's only had small
17 suplexes.
He only had
a fun moment.
He's had a match that it can only fit in one hand in 2014. But it's matches that are memorable. They are historic moments. It's something that we all thought could never happen, and that's beating the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
it's
like time stopped.
Exactly. The guy's face, I forgot his name escapes me, but when his look on his face when Brock Lesnar beat Taker, it's what everyone said. Yeah. It's what everyone else said.
When you beat the Undertaker and then annihilate John Cena,
that's exactly my next point.
Year.
And that's exactly my next point.
He's gonna make everyone look weak.
That is exactly my next point. You have never seen a WWE title match that has been so one-sided. You really haven't.
You really haven't.
Not at all. And it was such a dominant fashion that it's like, oh my god, I actually thought I would never really see something like this. Granted, their next match was actually was dumb storyline booking wise.
Yeah. John Cena didn't even get to move 3.
Yeah,
in the SummerSlam.
Brock Lesnar hit an F5 within 20 seconds, and the fans were nuts. No one has made such an impact with little number of matches than Brock Lesnar. And yes, I agree with you, Brian. Seth Rollins has been here all year, and he has had awesome matches because it's Seth Rollins. He has awesome matches, and the heel turn is working for him in the long run, which, yes, some of us questioned and partially questioned, but we all know he had the capabilities. And Daniel Bryan, absolutely memorable year. All of us really had great choices on this one.
Yeah, there's so many different, and we didn't even touch upon Dean Ambrose. He definitely would have been in the runnings as well.
He was my honorable mention.
Yeah, I think we could all put Dean Ambrose as an honorable mention.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Maybe, definitely in the next few
He's in my top 3.
Yeah, definitely in the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to be Superstar of the Year one of these years.
As much as I love Dean Ambrose, what definitely hurt him was losing continuously one-on-one matches at pay-per-views.
Yeah, he wasn't very booked. He wasn't really booked properly as much as he should have.
But he's reached the point where it's also
Bray Wyatt.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is bad for both of them, but it really doesn't hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, both these guys are over enough where they can handle it.
Exactly.
Anyway,
and they're going to be here for years.
Yeah.
Any discussions on our choices?
I think we pretty much nailed it right there.
I've already said what I needed to say about Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure we're going to talk about it.
No one's got to deny Brock Lesnar. Come on, dude. He beat the Undertaker streak. That should be enough right there.
Just that moment alone, even if he didn't have the title match at SummerSlam, that moment alone solidified it for me. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, it was something that we all thought wouldn't ever happen. But it did happen.
When there is legit silence in a room of 25 people, you've known that
25,000 people?
No, I mean in the place that we were at.
Oh, and where we were at. Yeah.
There is complete silence and shock. That is when you know you've done something, and automatically become someone who can be considered one of the best.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even process until I had to verbalize it. I was like,
did that just happen?
Brock Brock Lesnar just beat The Undertaker. The streak is over. The streak is over. And then that's
when everyone went nuts.
Yeah.
I went nuts for multiple reasons. One, because I thought the match was kind of horrible.
Yeah, that was.
Well, when Undertaker gets a concussion 2 minutes in,
yeah,
it's kind of
it really disappointed me just how it ended up. Reasons, even with those reasons. Oh, excuse me.
All right,
but yeah, let's move on.
We've got Wrestler of the Year. Conversely, I know you put this on the list of when you brought up the original topics. Most underused wrestler. Personally, for my pick, I'm going to adjust it a little bit and say maybe most underrated wrestler.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
We know what we're talking about.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Again, this is another one of those topics where you could pick so many different people.
I know his pick.
Yeah. And I'm just for this particular one, I'm just going to go with the first one that popped into my head. I'm going to say Damien Sandow. Just because he's been so underutilized for so long that just now he's finally starting to hit his stride and found a niche that could lead into the second renaissance for Damien Sandow. So it may not be the most ideal pick, but it's about as good as I can come up with right now. So I'm going with Damien Sandow.
And it's not, and I know for a fact it's not because he's the matriarch of this show.
You mean patriarch?
Patriarch. You know what I meant.
Matriarch.
Ah! Patriarch. Same thing for me.
Except not.
You know what I meant.
Damien Sandow has a penis. Film 11.
Anyway, I've got to be completely honest. All right. My pick was Damien Sandow as well. Basically.
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that.
For that 9 months where he was nothing. Just that dude coming out in costume and all that, one by one, changing every week, and I was more mad about that than I am about his pick. but it seems he's found his niche. But what would have happened if he didn't? That's what I'm saying. We'd still be going through the same thing. So I'm like,
then he'd be on the chopping block in March.
I know, and that's why he is my pick, because if he didn't come up with the glorious Mizdow, if that did not work, then he would be on the chopping block. Cesaro is nowhere near the chopping block, so it was a toss up between the two, and I'm gonna go with Sandow.
It's not on the fact of who's closer to the chopping block. For me, it was okay. I'm not. You all know who it is. It's Cesaro. I'm not building
Don't
up.
Build it up.
I'm not. But I'm still gonna go. Like the difference between Sandow and Cesaro is Cesaro was at a point in the early 2014s where you thought that he was going somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and then like. He got the handshake from Hulk Hogan. You think, oh wow, this guy's starting to go places now. This is going to be a good year for him. And then all of a sudden he went to Paul Heyman. At first it was just like, really, they're going to keep him as heel from the pop he's getting? But it's like, okay, well, it's Paul Heyman. It could be something. Yes, he's had a bad history of making new Paul Heyman guys, but I think they can do something with this. Mm-hmm. And that it wasn't even close to that, because he was getting overshadowed even long after the match between Brock Lesnar and Taker happened, to a point it's like, yes, it's another thing of WWE looking towards the past, but not moving on, looking for the future. Mm. And I thought that was a complete bad missed opportunity to help put Cesaro in a bigger spot than where he is now. And it just slowly went down from there. And yes, Sandow, by the end of the year, he's found something that is helping him get over. But people were liking the whole different, what's he going to be this week? At first, when it first happened, we were like, oh, this is dumb. This is stupid. Why are they doing this? He deserves so much better.
seemed like that went on for a long time.
But then it slowly started getting better to a point like, okay, this is actually getting fun. We want him to win. We want him to win. We're loving the gimmicks that he's choosing. And some of his ideas are very creative to a point where it's like, we're really liking this. And I can also...
Miz wow.
And then he came in as Miz's stunt double. He blew up. It blew up for all the good reasons. Cesaro, he started off with a nice big boom, and then it just slowly died down to where he is now. I have to keep choosing Cesaro on this one because the difference between Sandow, he still has time to, like, he wasn't at a super high point where he, like, him losing all the time could hurt him. But for Cesaro, it definitely hurts just to be like, okay, this guy is the best wrestler that they have, and he's like the strongest. I think he is the strongest person probably in WWE. Is. And they're just wasting opportunity, and just Vince McMahon's interview with Austin saying that he just couldn't connect with the crowd. I waved the flag of bullshit. Did you ever hear such a big pop for a swing in recent memory?
No one else even uses a swing.
And because no one used a swing in a long time, and he was doing it to big guys. He did it to the Great Cheese. He did it to the Big Show. People were and seeing his strength to those guys, lifting people up for the neutralizer. It was brilliant. People were connecting with him. And then they just went downhill from there, ever since he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Hopefully 2015 will be something new, which what we talked about earlier. Maybe it'll lead to an intercontinental feud with him, Wade Barrett, and Ziggler. Hopefully. But yeah, from someone who had high expectations going in 2014 to where he is now, that's why I have to pick Cesaro.
And that's fair. And with that rationale, anyone will have a hard time disagreeing with you. Anyway, moving on to the next topic, Feud of the Year. Now, I personally... what?
Pretty obvious for me.
It's pretty obvious for me too.
I actually had to think about this one. Like,
this was one of the easiest ones for me.
Not for me. Like, there are so many different feuds going on that I really had to think about this. And like initially, I was gonna pick Daniel Bryan versus the Authority, just because of how high profile it is and what we got out of it. Then I really started thinking about it. It was like that really didn't last all that long, so I don't know. I had a real hard time thinking about it, or at least considering it for that spot. But I realized what else could possibly fill that role, and I remembered a feud that was going on for the vast majority of 2014, pretty much under our noses. And then I started thinking about it, and the kinds of matches that are absolutely comparable, if not superior, to the matches we got out of Daniel Bryan and the Authority and everything that came out of that. And that feud is Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville. Those two have been feuding for the title for the vast majority of the year on NXT across, I believe, 2 or 3 separate NXT pay-per-views.
I think so, yeah.
This has been going on for such a long time, and when it culminated in what could easily be one of the best matches of the year, easily a match of the year candidate in their NXT R Evolution match, that was just the way things progressed, the storyline that happened, the way the feud carried out. This was pure, undiluted, old school wrestling. Just two really talented wrestlers tearing it up for months and months on end, culminating in a massive face win, a pure massive face win. Two guys hug it out, and then a little teaser at the end of the show that set up the next feud. It is literally everything I like about professional wrestling, encapsulated in one feud. So that's my feud. Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville for the NXT title.
Okay. I can honestly say that I did not take into account NXT.
I didn't until like 10 minutes ago. So that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But, okay. My feud is pretty much just as good. Ended kind of crappy. But during the time that it was actually put together and they were running with it. It was some of the best stuff I saw all year. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
I have a hard time disagreeing with you.
Because,
that
okay, there is a legit... Like, you could feel... Okay, these guys are best friends in real life. Are good friends. But you can feel in the storyline and in the feud itself a legitimate hatred. And they're just going at it. Every match is insane. They made a lumberjack match good.
Oh, yes.
And
that's a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, and I mean, ever since the turn of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose turning face and going crazy and them just hooking up, it's great match after great match, great brawl in the back, great promos. There is nothing that was disappointing about this feud except the kinda end to it. Like, it's not the end of it, but the last match of this particular iteration of the feud, I didn't like the end. But, okay, everything other than that, perfection.
All right. Fool, what do you got?
It's funny we were saying the easiest one was Daniel Bryan versus The Authority. And yes, I agree with that, but it's not my choice. I actually am going to go a little one step further on Bryan's choice and say that the Dean Ambrose-Seth Rollins feud is actually a piece of the puzzle to The Authority / Evolution versus The Shield.
Oh, there you go.
That works.
Where
you're not wrong.
It was just, first they started off as the Authority's bodyguards. And they slowly evolved into people who were thinking in on themselves. And it led to, like, we are the future, and you guys are just the old-timers who are no longer in power. And it became just a power struggle. It became the egos going against each other. And it showed the dominance of the future in the three people who actually are going to lead the future of WWE. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. Three of another small handful, of course.
Yeah.
And it even grew even bigger when they actually had one of the Shield members turn on their brothers. Granted, the feud ended with Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, the Hell in a Cell. It ended that feud too. The feud between the Shield and the Authority / Evolution as well. It was just how it was all staying on this. And that's really all I can really say on it. Is that it helped build future stars.
Again, that's fair.
It was a passing of the torch of three dominant ones. The three top guys in WWE in the early 2000s, passing the torch to three dominant ones.
And it was
of the future.
It was a rare moment of 2014 passing the torch.
And it was multiple pieces put into one nicely big puzzle. That's why it's Seth Rollins and Ambrose, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. How very short-lived that was. And then
that wasn't anyone's fault.
Yeah, it didn't really go anywhere yet.
They couldn't go anywhere because Roman Reigns' hernia exploded.
Exactly. So yeah, that wasn't their fault, but it was for understanding reasons. It's just it ended there, and instead of I'll go into that one, get into more on that one later. But that's my feud of the year.
We could expand upon these for hours. Let's face it, if we get expanded in its entirety on all these picks, we're going to be sitting here on a 3-hour show. So let's move on.
Nothing wrong with that, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to edit them anymore. Anyway, moving on. Match of the year. I'm just going to make this really quick. I made my match of the year, Bryan versus Batista versus Orton, just because of what it meant to me, not just the wrestling quality, but what it meant for the future of the WWE and just everything leading up to that. It's a rare moment of the WWE actually capitalizing on someone who's really super hot, and it made for a damn fine WrestleMania moment.
I was stuck between two. Okay. The Survivor Series match. Mm-hmm. Because of how it really built up one guy and the epic debut of someone we've wanted to see, or at least I have.
Oh yeah, but
we all have. We've all wanted to see this guy in the WWE, and it made for an awesome moment. However, one guy getting put over pales in comparison to 6 guys putting themselves over. I am going with the Wyatt family versus the Shield at Elimination Chamber. Because, holy crap.
I thought that was last year.
Elimination Chamber 2014.
Oh, I should have considered that one too.
You
are not wrong in the slightest. That was glorious.
The last time we went to a Hooters restaurant to see a pay-per-view match, to see a pay-per-view, and it was just that 45 minutes, made me proud to be a fan of wrestling, because that was 45 minutes of gloriousness.
I'll tell you what, that may have not been my particular pick for match of the year, but this would easily win fan viewing experience of the year. Just being around all those different people with chicken wings and just watching one of the best matches of the year.
Cheap plug.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll say this, okay?
It was so much fun.
This is all I need to say, okay? This match was 45 minutes long. I was never bored.
It felt like 10.
Felt like 10, and I was pissed when it ended.
Yeah, that... You know what? I thought, for some reason, I thought that was in 2013. I'm going to have to amend... I'm going to amend my choice. I'm going Shield Wyatts.
If it was with my choosing on this one, for match-wise, I actually went simple and just chose a singles match. I just tried, what singles match throughout the year did something impactful to me. I went traditional on this one. If it was more than one, I would have picked Shield Wyatts every time. But when it comes to just the single one-on-one, it actually happened at NXT Arrival with Cesaro versus Sami Zayn.
You're not wrong.
There you go.
That one, it gave me what you felt with... wow, I'm blanking out. Sami Zayn, Neville. Yeah. So I don't know why I blanked out on that one. Yeah. But yeah, it gave me that feeling. This is why I love wrestling. These two guys, I was glued to my seat every second. I'm just oh, I don't want this to end. And I'm just okay.
It ended.
Okay, it ended. And you know what? I was satisfied. And I can't say any more than that. It's just... why the hell is Cesaro being treated like this when he puts on great product like this?
Because WWE is incompetent.
It really is. Dave pointed this out. Going to WWE really is a demotion. When you go to NXT, I'm it's the best thing to do for you.
Yeah, hopefully they'll change that, but again, we'll see.
Hopefully.
Dwelling in the gutter for a moment, let's talk about worst match of the year. I had a hard time trying to come up with this, so I just came up with the worst one that I could remember off the top of my head. And I picked an NXT match. It was just a random NXT match. It was, for some reason, they decided to put on Bayley versus Eva Marie. And yeah, and they just... The one good thing I can say about this match is that Bayley ended the match and just totally just squashed Eva Marie, and the whole place just started cheering. Because everyone hates Eva Marie, and so do I. Next.
I think you killed him.
Hey, mouth breathing.
Brian, wake up. Pass me my clear liquid. Please.
All right, you've got something on your mind, fool. You go first.
See, with this one... Oh, boy, this... When it comes to choosing the worst match, I just chose the one that made absolutely no sense booking-wise. Well, it had potential booking-wise. And the match did nothing impactful for it to be memorable. It did absolutely nothing for either guys. And that was Ryback versus Kane in a steel chairs match at TLC and S.
I can see that.
Like I said, it had potential for a build that they had.
You forgot your nuts, stupid.
And it led to that. It led to that, and it led to a singles match that, oh my god, it was in the event that put me to sleep. I was so bored. I'm like, I love Kane. I love Ryback. Why isn't this match working for me? And it was so generic. It was just as bad as Roman Reigns versus Kane in the Last Man Standing match on that one Raw. Nothing impactful happened. Nobody was into it. It was boring. It was stupid. Stupid.
Stupid. You forgot your good match, stupid.
Stupid. And it just left with a sour taste in my mouth, and it led me to falling asleep.
Brian, what you got?
This is rough because you both picked two doozies, man.
Can you top them?
I don't think I can, so I'm gonna have... I don't want to pick a Divas match.
Why is that too
easy? A Divas match
is too easy. Eva Marie.
It's too easy. It is too easy. I'm actually shocked that you chose that one. I was really shocked.
Is it not deserve it?
It's deserve it, but it's just like, I think a Divas match is just so easy, especially an Eva Marie Divas match.
I'm gonna go with a match that pissed me off. It was on the same pay-per-view as said Ryback Kane. A match that just pissed me off to no end. It was basically a match to put someone who wasn't even in the match over. Okay, I'm going John Cena versus Seth Rollins. Only. The match, there was really no match. It was a minute of John Cena and Seth Rollins fighting, and then here comes the Wonder Twins, Noble and Mercury, in to beat up on John Cena. Okay, there's 5 minutes of that. Then they go out, they fight again for a minute. Then the Wonder Twins come back and they get into it. It was a 20-minute match that actually had maybe 2 minutes of legit one-on-one match, and nobody in the match got over. Nobody in the match got over because it was set up for the Big Show. Why? For the Big Show to come in. Why? And for Roman Reigns to come in and be triumphant. So you're gonna put a big time match like that. Okay, Seth Rollins beats John Cena. John Cena is no longer the number one contender, and this is WCW. That match is clearly WCW booking, and I hated WCW booking. So there you go. So there you go. I'm going to turn this, not my worst match of the year, my most hated match of the year, John Cena versus Seth Rollins, the table match didn't...
It's easy to say that worst is and hate is the same thing.
Yeah, John
it's
Cena,
understandable.
John Cena and Seth Rollins in the table match that wasn't really a tables match. Someone got put through a table at the end. That's the only thing that made it a tables match.
All right. Moving on to the next category, Best Pay-Per-View. This one was one of the easiest for me. Right out again, I'm just going to say it. It's NXT R Evolution. It was definitely better. First, I was going to say, maybe WrestleMania 30. But outside of a handful of matches that everyone remembers, whereas those had just like a few matches that were really, really good, this event, conversely, with the exception of maybe two of the little happenings, like Baron Corbin or something like that, this card was loaded top to bottom with great matches, memorable moments, amazing entrances, great wrestling top to bottom. It was easily one of, not just the best pay-per-view of the year in my eyes, but it's easily one of the best pay-per-views of the past decade for as far as WWE is concerned. That's my pick. R Evolution, NXT, boom, by the network.
Yeah, because apparently it's the only thing good going on right now.
It really is. But, it really is.
I am going to go with WrestleMania. Now, the moments that were had, some of them did not pan out. The Cesaro winning the Battle Royal. Some of them did not pan out, but they were good enough moments to just Daniel Bryan finally getting one over on Triple H, then going on to win the whole damn thing. It was like, cool. You had Brock Lesnar beating the streak, which pissed everyone off at the time, but now seeing what Brock Lesnar's doing, you're like, alright, whatever.
Alright.
You got Cesaro winning the Battle Royal. It was just chock full of good stuff, and it's the most fun I've had at watching a WrestleMania in a while. So it was between that and Extreme Rules, just for the fact that, hey, I was there, and
No,
midgets had the third best match of the pay-per-view.
They're called little people, sir.
I'm saying midgets. What are you gonna do? That's it. But definitely, but I'm gonna go with WrestleMania.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna transition over to Tarek. Tarek, what's your pick?
Thing was, it was a tie. Like, it was a toss-up between WrestleMania and NXT Revolution.
Pick one.
I chose already. It was a toss-up. I was just simply explaining. Let me explain, man.
Pick one.
Quiet.
Pick one.
I already picked one. Damn you both.
What is it?
So it has to be WrestleMania 30 because it has those moments that Brian was talking about that just left us speechless, like cheering, yesing.
Yes.
And just be like, this was a great WrestleMania. It really was. Mm-hmm. And I can't really go into more of what Brian said because it was just left those moments where you're just like, this is what WrestleMania is all about.
This was a WrestleMania that felt like a WrestleMania.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Like the couple of years before that, I don't really know.
Yeah, I went to WrestleMania 29, the only WrestleMania moment that came out of that. Hell, the only WrestleMania match that actually felt like a WrestleMania match to me was Punk Taker.
And Punk has said that he wasn't really into that match.
And it was still
great.
It was still the match of the night.
Easy, yeah.
Hands down.
It was still easily the match of the night. And Punk was like, I was at the point where, and Punk was at the point where he actually said, I did not care during that Undertaker match. I did not care. So
Could have fooled me.
Yeah, exactly.
So he said it in a podcast. So I don't know, but
yeah, I have to say WrestleMania took the cake on that one. But NXT Revolution is a very, very close second.
When WrestleMania does it right, okay, I normally have to give it the nod.
Exactly.
Yeah, and most years, if our evolution did not happen the way it happened, I would be right along with you guys. But it did, so I'm going to be the contrarian one.
Hey, that's fine.
Well, you know what's not fine? The worst pay-per-view of the year.
Oh, very true.
And I'm just going to go with TLCS for this one, just because it's the last one I can think of that was just really disappointing.
I'm going to go with the Royal Rumble, because I was pissed after that.
That's true.
When I'm pissed... See, the only good thing that happened on that show was Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt. Okay, that was good. Then you had the Divas match, which sucked to holy hell. Then you had John Cena versus Randy Orton, and what the hell was that? And then you had the Royal Rumble. Need I say more?
Didn't that one have Brock Lesnar versus Big Show too?
Yeah, and that sucked
that wasn't even a match.
That wasn't even a match. That was a
beatdown. It wasn't even a match.
I didn't remember that.
So it's like TLC had two matches that were really good. Okay, and the rest was but the Royal Rumble had one match that was good and everything else was shit. So I got to go with the Royal Rumble.
Fool?
It's the difference between Royal Rumble is I stayed awake. It wasn't a pay-per-view that put me to sleep. It's the only pay-per-view that has ever in the history of me watching professional wrestling that put me to sleep, and that's TLCS. It left me angry with how much. Look in the past episodes before that. It is exactly why I was so angry with WWE. Everything that they could do, they did not. They didn't do right at this pay-per-view. The only match that actually had a legit build to it was the TLC match itself between Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose. That match was okay. It was number 2 match.
It was acceptable.
It was acceptable.
And
but
just
we all
acceptable is not good enough.
Exactly. These two were capable of so much more. And it had Ryback versus Kane. I just told you how much I hated that match because nothing impactful came from it.
I remember we were even talking about the preview pictures, just the preview picture for that match. Both of them just looked bored. And Kane just had this look on his face like, okay, here I go, another day at the office. I'm bored. My butt hurts. I'm going to get a new pair of pants.
And then main event number 3, Bryan's match. John Cena versus Seth Rollins in a tables match. We all knew what the result was going to be. All that match was build up for Roman Reigns versus The Big Show. And look what happened to that feud. It really didn't happen.
It got herniated.
It's gone. It's like it never happened. It led to nothing. The entire event had little to no build for any of the matches. They were thrown together matches, and the only one that actually I consider good was the opening match, which was for the Intercontinental title. And it's not my prejudice because I love the IC title. It is actually because it was a legit good match.
You're a mark for what you got. Don't apologize for that.
Every other match was just so terribly put together. They're either just filling in time when it was Jack Swagger versus Rusev, or they were just... Hell, it was just that, just to waste time. And it's funny because it's the only pay-per-view that didn't have the authority because they were gone. That's just coincidental, but it's just the fact that these matches meant absolutely nothing in the long run. In the prediction show for the John Cena Seth Rollins match, I had a prediction that actually could have meant something with that match with Randy Orton, with help put Seth Rollins over by actually defeating John Cena, but actually starting a good feud that we all want to see between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, with Orton coming in RKO out of nowhere, roll Cena off the table, and just put Seth Rollins unconscious body. Ref sees, leads to a feud there. There was so much potential with how they built, how stuff could have been built, but it didn't go there. This match is the biggest waste of time, and it leads to nothing. Rowan Big Show, what did that go to? Rowan's now on Superstars. He's on main event. What was the point? There was no point to this event.
Other than just to fill a
this is to fill a void. Exactly. This is why sometimes I hate the 12 pay-per-view a year thing. Because sometimes these events are just to fill time. And that's just not good. On a business, that's not what's best for business. In that, I give TLC and S a big middle finger because it pissed me off so much, and it did something that I thought would never happen to bore me so bad that it put me to sleep.
You need to start watching pay-per-views with people again.
I think we all need to do that.
There's nothing quite like it. Once Elizabeth actually gets old enough to actually watch the pay-per-views out, then that's the case. That's my reason, because I'm watching it with my little girl, and I'm actually doing what she does.
You need to get into it. You need to get her into it so she can be part of it.
Trust me, she's watching wrestling with me all the time.
Hey, at least you've got an excuse. The rest of us,
are just lazy.
We just need to get that together.
But yeah, big middle finger, big F-bomb to you, TLCS, for just really pissing me off and doing something I never thought I would ever do.
Yeah.
God,
that's why Night of Champions was my worst last year, because it put me to sleep in Hooters.
Oh yeah,
how does that work?
Oh my God, this angers me so much.
So let's move on then,
please.
Next category we've got Diva of the Year. Now, I know this is not going to come as a shock to you guys, but this was
as long as they count.
This was the year that I discovered Sasha Banks. And again, get all the jokes out of the way if you want to. again, that was just the year I discovered Sasha Banks. And to be fair, Sasha Banks, my preferences aside, she actually did have a legitimately good year. Great matches, great everything, great presence. That this was one of the years where she really came into her own as a personality, where she really solidified herself as the boss. And it was just a great thing to behold. Sure, AJ is definitely up there, but again, to me, I couldn't shake this feeling like we've seen before from AJ, where, at least from my perspective, Sasha Banks was still very, very new.
Okay.
And she was very Sasha, and also Banks. So, yeah, I'm going with that. Sure, it's a little biased, but I don't care. My pick is Sasha.
Well, if we're going to go NXT and allow NXT, I think I'm going to go with Charlotte.
Also good.
Alright, because great match. One thing I could say about NXT Divas, none of them put on a bad match. Okay? Charlotte's been entertaining all year. Been champion for a lot of it. And done some really good things. She's looking to come up soon and be neutered by the WWE. So, it was between her and Paige. But, Paige had a pretty good year with a couple Divas titles. But she didn't hold them for long enough, and now look at her. I don't even know where she's at. So, gotta go with Charlotte because she's all over NXT TV. They're always having good matches. And, she's been champion for most of the year. So, boom.
Another good pick. Fool?
It's actually funny because going into the show right now, I don't have a choice for Diva of the Year. It is.
He's being taken over by the evil Bella Boobs.
Hey, there's
How is
more
that-
things
how is-
to be taken over by.
It's true.
How is not choosing a diva being corrupted by the evil Bella Boobs?
Because it means you want to pick Nikki Bella, but your mind's not telling
No,
you
it doesn't.
not to.
No,
How did you ever come to that conclusion?
yeah, that's a very good question. Where did that come from?
Are you funny?
I'm having flashbacks
What?
Flashbacks to what?
What?
to New Year's Eve.
Is that funny? Is that humorous?
What?
What? Okay, I'm actually
Wait.
just gonna. I'm gonna ignore him because
I don't know,
I don't know
where
what
it's
he's
coming
going.
from.
I don't even
I'm
know what
only-
I'm
I'm gonna
talking
pick-
about.
I'm just gonna pick the diva that I know is gonna be the future, and she actually is very she's the only diva in NXT that I actually am somewhat paying attention to.
Old
And
blue pants.
What? Okay. It's like, what? And that's Charlotte.
Wow, I did not expect an NXT clean sweep on the Divas division here.
Why are you so surprised? Look at the main.
Because
look at the main
everyone's so
roster
freaking
divas.
neutered. Everyone is neutered.
AJ did have a good year, and this was the debut year of Paige.
And
so-
I can't.
And I can't choose Paige.
I can't pick AJ because, based on my own criteria, I can't, in all consciousness, do it when she took so much time off.
Okay, so yeah, in that case,
But yeah, but
okay, NXT rules.
It's just NXT. Well, of course it does because the main roster sucks
oh,
so
boy.
much.
That can always change. That can always change. Just clearing out the last of our negativity banks. How is it you put it? The worst moment of the year. How'd you put it? I need a glass of clear liquid.
It's the Need of Clear Liquid award, the most hated moment of 2014 for each of us.
The need of the other clear liquid.
Just in
In your
general,
case.
the need of clear liquid.
Okay, well, in my case, I'm gonna go a little somber. I think this is gonna be self-explanatory. CM Punk's departure was easily the worst moment of the year for me, just because even though it wasn't exactly kayfabe traditional wrestling related, it still was the most discouraging and depressing moment of the year, at least for me, from a wrestling standpoint. And it also, to me, it still signifies, no matter what you thought of his shoot promo, or whether or not you thought it was how truthful or not you thought he was, the very fact that he departed under less than ideal circumstances like he did, that was one of the biggest heartbreakers of the year for me by far. And there's really nothing else that really tops that in my eyes.
Well, my worst moment. Okay, this basically goes a complete 180 from what I said before about Daniel Bryan. That I don't want him to win the Royal Rumble this year because I wanted him to win the Royal Rumble last year. So when number 30 comes out and
Booyaka,
the music
booyaka.
and Booyaka Booyaka hits, and I'm completely drunk at this point. Okay,
Yeah, you were.
hugging this guy's leg. That's how drunk I am. Okay, immediately sober up and start yelling at the TV with everybody else. That okay. I picked Batista to win. I know this. Did I really want it? No, not at all. I wanted Daniel Bryan to win. It made the most sense. So when he's not even in the actual match, okay, that just makes me angry.
You sound like a really depressed woman on the Love Connection.
Exactly, and I don't want to be that.
But I picked him anyway.
And I didn't, and that's what pisses me off, and that's why it's my worst moment of the year.
You know what? I'm going to amend my statement. The worst moment of the year is me making a Love Connection reference on this show.
Yeah.
All right, Fool, what do you got?
I don't know how the hell that happened.
We're talking
That
about
came out of nowhere.
It came out of
nowhere.
Got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. Oh yeah.
Sounds
Snap
like
into a Slim Jim. Eat me. Eat me.
You saved me from making a really bad joke. Anyway, Fool.
I'm a turkey. Kill me.
I'm
I'm sorry.
What is the show doing for
Other
us?
than Slim Jim, Eat Me came. Other than thinking of Slim Jim, I thought of Adam's Family Values, the song when Pugsley was the turkey. Eat me! I am a turkey. Kill me. Yeah, this is what looking back at 2014 has done to us. It's kind of hard to go into it, but it's because it's exactly what you said, Fool, and it was CM Punk departing from WWE. It was just a real heartbreaking moment, and yes, it's listening to the podcast now, and it makes sense with how his body would, if he stayed in the WWE any longer, it could have possibly killed him. Mm-hmm. So now knowing that information, it makes sense, but it's just the fact that he had to just walk out. It had to lead him to a point where he just has to talk to Vince. He has talked to Vince and Triple H, and nothing could end on a good term. He just says goodbye. Simple as that. He can't even say he has to go. He can't even go out on Raw saying, "I'm sorry. I'm if I stay any longer, like
I am dead."
Not even. Well, he didn't know when he left.
Yeah.
But if he just says, there's nothing more that I can accomplish here. He's the longest reigning champion in the last how long? So he's made his mark in history. There's just not there. The drive to him is just not there. I am departing. Thank you for everything. Goodbye. That if that happened, then it wouldn't have been such a real girl. Why did you leave? It didn't.
And he couldn't say
a love
anything
hate
for the longest time.
Exactly.
And you know what? I was actually thinking about this more and more often since the podcast dropped, and just knowing what I do about this kind of thing.
That's what I do.
That's what I do. The more I hear about just how badly he was pushing himself, and no matter whether some of the people he blamed for some of the things happened, whether or not things actually happened the way that they had, staph infection or not, the more I hear from where his mind was at, the more I keep hearing that he just burned himself out really, really badly. Injuries aside,
Mentally.
yeah. Again, he's probably not gonna. It'll take him at least like 3 or 5 years before he's back, but I think he will be back.
I don't think so.
I
think he's full in on this UFC thing.
It sounds like that's why I said like at least 3 to 5 years.
I don't even. I legitimately think the way he's talking about it.
Well, yeah, because that's what burnout is like.
I understand that, but I think with the fact that he's going into new things, and he's still writing comics, and while doing
it's only been a year.
While doing, and it's I know that, but I think he's done.
And the fact that Triple H is on the verge of taking control of the company, and we know how the relationship between Triple H and CM Punk, it is very hard to see him step foot in a WWE ring again.
Right.
The difference between Vince and Triple H is like, Vince is stubborn at times, but given it a few years, he's willing to make compromises and help. Even though it was from leverage from Triple H on some of them, he still was willing to make peace with people. I don't see Triple H being that type of person.
Normally, again, I'm not Triple H, so I can't say for sure one way or the other. But I will say this. There's 2 things that I know. Money talks, number 1. Nice cracking of your spine.
Thank you.
Yes.
It was beautiful. It felt awesome.
I really hoped that sound came out on the podcast. That was disgusting.
Really if you're listening to this on YouTube, rewind about 30 seconds and see if you can hear that spine crack.
It was beautiful. It felt awesome.
Anyway, just wrapping up my thought here. Just going back to what we know about everything. Just going back with the way things happened, number 1, money talks, so who knows where people are going to be in like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, the one thing I keep coming back to, even though emotions are still really raw right now, as far as Punk and everyone else, the one thing I keep coming back to is if Bret Hart can go through being screwed over by the company, getting screwed over by Vince McMahon, getting screwed over by not even Triple H, but just by one of his boys. If he can handle getting screwed over by that and dealing with the same company who inadvertently killed his brother, then you know what? A lot can happen in a decade. That's all I'm saying.
I'll give you that.
We'll see.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very hard.
It is going to be.
It's going to be a long shot.
And again, this is only year 1, barely.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of the wounds are really fresh.
Hell, it's coming. Yeah, Royal Rumble. It is coming up to a full year. Yeah, it is coming up to a full year. Damn.
Again, so much has happened that it almost takes. We have to almost take a step back and see, the year that was. So again, I don't blame you all for any of that. But again, this is one of the things I'm relatively optimistic about. I just hope that it doesn't take him another 10 years before we see CM Punk or even hear him on a WWE product ever again.
Mm.
But anyway, that again in and of itself is a work in progress. Let's close this out with Best Moment of the Year, aka the You're Welcome Award.
You're welcome.
Now, this is one of those ones where I had a really hard time with.
I didn't.
I can't give it to the Daniel Bryan title win just because I already put that down for Match of the Year earlier. So I'm just thinking about stuff that I thought was really cool. And I just thought about a lot of really cool entrances. So
I know where you're going with.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Keep going, but I know exactly where you're going with this.
Well, I didn't even know where I was going with this. So if you think you know what I'm talking about, that's awesome.
You're talking about entrances. I know exactly where you're going with this. Continue.
Give me a name right now.
No. I know what it is.
Give me a name.
I'm gonna whisper it to him.
No. Maybe.
Yes. They don't know this.
I was going to give it like a 3-way tie for a while, but eventually the Bray Wyatt entrance at WrestleMania 30. That was so
awesome.
Cool. That
was pretty awesome.
It was everything we thought that Bray Wyatt's entrance at WrestleMania should be, especially with the band and the bird masks and the crazy vampire coat. That was great. I don't want to say it because you get.
Just say it.
Yeah, Sting coming out was really cool, and but again, that was discussed for a while, and we kept debating year after year. Oh, this is gonna be the year. This is gonna be the year. Like, it happening was really cool, and it was certainly. I'm not gonna discount anyone not saying, "Oh, that was the best moment of the year. It was so big." You're not wrong.
Just say it.
Now I'm on that bandwagon. Just say it. Pick.
But going off of that, I'm going to go... Yes, I am going to say Finn Balor coming out. Finn Balor coming out in the war paint just because to me, it was both of those moments combined in a lot of ways. It was a big theatrical moment, number one. Number two, it was a culmination of a lot of really hopeful things that finally came to pass. Especially at the time of the year when it did. This was, again, all the other moments, they happened before the CM Punk podcast, which really brought my mood and overall impressions about wrestling down to as low as they could possibly go. Mm-hmm. So not only was this among some of the coolest entrances and coolest moments of the year, but just the fact that when it came about when it did, and just really perked up all my hopes in wrestling and in the stars of the future, and just seeing that there's a light, that there is still a light at the end of the tunnel. Again, there's a lot of moments that are worthy of this spot, but this is just this is just one of them, and I had to pick one. So, yeah, sorry for being predictable, but I had to go with Finn Balor. I had to mention Finn Balor on this list.
All right, I'll applaud you.
Well, my best moment of the year is also on that list.
Wait. Let me pull a you and whisper something into your ear.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, go on.
All right, seriously, go on.
Say it.
Sting coming out.
I knew it. I'm talking.
Sting. All right. You knew someone was coming out at WWE Survivor Series. I wasn't sure who it was going to be. I thought for a long time it was going to be Randy Orton, because what a perfect way to come back. Screwing Seth Rollins out of and taking the Authority out of power, coming back in one fell swoop. Huge babyface. But no. We got something so much better.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we have been talking about it for years. We never thought it would actually come to pass. But this just culminated, and that stare down. The stare down between Triple H and Sting. That lasted 10 minutes and was awesome the entire 10 minutes. Okay, it was just... I'm speechless. And I'm never speechless. And it was just the best thing I have seen all year. Like, I don't mark out very much. Okay, but there are 2 times I marked out this year. The beginning of the Shield and the Wyatt match, which was my best match of the year, and when Sting came out from behind that curtain. So, it's gotta be Sting for my best moment of the year. He came out, he laid to waste, and then walked away.
It's very interesting, because now since the Authority is back, I want them to say something about Sting Monday.
Sting versus Triple H
at Mania?
At Mania.
And I'm okay with
Sign it.
I am okay with that too. See, mine is more...
Wait, before we do anything...
Stop it.
I honestly don't know.
We're not going to whisper sweet nothings into our ear anymore?
No.
Oh.
Not with this one.
Take all the fun out of life, why don't you?
No, this one is a very near and dear moment to me. And it's because of how the events that happened after that led to it. And for me, it was the Ultimate Warrior's speech on Raw.
You're right. You know what?
That's something you can't...
Up there. I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
Hearing what the man said and then finding out what is it? The next day or
the
day,
next day?
The next day he died.
The next morning.
That was surreal.
It made me listen to his promo a dozen more times, and every time I heard it, I started to cry. That man,
because it makes it seem like he knew.
Oh, yeah, I definitely.
So
I am convinced he knew what was going on.
He knew
that's
something was wrong.
That's why he was making amends with everyone. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame. He put on his mask and spoke as the Ultimate Warrior one last time. And it made me, in his memory, go out for a run for that. That took me.
We still need to do that next year.
Yeah, I ran for 45 minutes. I was dying the next day, having Ultimate Warrior blast through my through my iPod, just endless repeat. It was like no moment in 2014 left such an emotional impact than hearing Warrior's farewell speech. It pretty much was his farewell promo, and it was just his message to the future, and that's why I think nothing could have topped that. No match, no wrestling match moment, no feud, nothing else could have topped that for me.
You're not wrong, but just you bringing that up just really made me. Sure, Finn Balor was cool and all, but now I feel like I gotta go back and amend my vote. My vote, now that you mentioned the Hall of Fame again, I have to. Part of me really wants to give it to Jake the Snake Roberts, finally going in, and going in like he did. Again, it's in a very similar vein as that, and you could say the same thing about Scott Hall. Just especially Jake and Scott Hall, notorious abusers like they have been, just getting themselves right after so many years, and everyone thinking that they wouldn't be able to do it, myself included, just being proved wrong in that regard, and just have them get clean. And especially with Jake the Snake Roberts, him showing up on Raw and him dropping Damian on Dean Ambrose.
And Dean Ambrose with the little grin that he thought no one could see.
Could you blame him, though? Could you blame him?
We were all grinning. Just saying that, you know what? The Snake is healthy again. He's right with his body, his God, and the world. That was just another beautiful, beautiful moment. Even though he didn't get his entry in the Rumble like he wanted, number one, hey, he got recognized in the Hall of Fame. B, he's sober again, which is the most important part. And C, hey, there's always the 2015 Rumble.
There were a lot of crappy moments this year in 2014, but when the moments were good, they were fantastic.
It was honestly a three-way call from my end. The Warrior promo, Sting's debut, and Rock, Austin, Hogan opening WrestleMania.
That was good too.
Hogan getting the
Silver Dome.
The Silver Dome.
Brother.
But it was just seeing three guys who made such a huge name in wrestling, just drinking a beer, just teasing each other. It was awesome.
It was a 20-minute promo at the beginning of WrestleMania. And no one complained.
And there was not one complaint.
That's a trick in itself.
But the whole, just how emotional, like, the whole story with Warrior happened on me. It had to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
definitely
fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I would be remiss if I did not mention this before we leave. If we're talking about best moments of the year, this Sunday we could be very well looking at 2015's moment of the year. And I'm talking about, for the first time ever, New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 9 pay-per-view airing in the United States in English for the very first time. Now, I don't know about you, where all your thoughts are at with this, but for me, this is beyond huge.
This is huge, yeah.
I mean, let's face it. I'm just going to go on a little mini gush about this. You know, I try to stay in touch with, with Japanese wrestling, but it's not always the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Sure, with all the Japanese women's wrestling, sure, it's easier to get into because, at the end of the day, wrestling and beautiful women. Boom. That's international communication, right? There's universality there. And I'm pretty sure that's not even a word, but you know what? I don't care. You give me Act Yasukawa coming out in as a one-eyed samurai spitting rum in everyone's face, and I'm a happy boy.
That sounds actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. Right?
Oh yeah, and I'm still really depressed that you guys have never seen Natsuki Taiyo, because her career wasn't all that long. She actually just retired in 2014, just as I was getting into her. Giggity. But she's like, go red. But she is like a little murder ball. She's like just so good. She actually had a match with Act, and she just beats it's back and forth while, but eventually Natsuki Taiyo just like beats the crap out of her, and what's her face? Act is just like bleeding all over the place, wheezing, just trying to fight back. Or like, dude, I now just feel bad for you. Just stay down, please. Just stay down. I've yet to find that again. So if anyone's listening to this can find that match on YouTube or Daily Motion or whatever, find it, watch it, love it, awesome. But anyway, I'm digressing now. Now that we're getting Wrestle Kingdom 9 in the States, complete with Matt Stryker and Jim Ross commenting on all these matches, this could be the gateway. This is going to be the pay-per-view where Western audiences actually get into Japanese wrestling, including me. Like, most of these people I'd never even heard of. I've heard of like names like Rainmaker Okada, and I know Bullet Club has been all over the place for the past year, especially now that AJ Styles is back and actually joining up with the Bullet Club and won the IWGP title. I mean, let's face it, if nothing else, we know that, I think we've all heard of the Bullet Club at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've all heard of the Bullet Club, and again, it's no shocker to me that Bullet Club is all over this pay-per-view, along with all their other big names of New Japan, which, again, I'm not going to spend too much time gushing about it. If anything, I'll probably link up to some of the breakdown videos that they had Matt Stryker do for all the matches, which is, he does a fantastic job of building up all these matches and selling all these feuds and explaining who these guys are. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. There's probably going to be some links in the description of this video that just links to all the descriptions of all the matches that are going to be happening at Wrestle Kingdom 9 this weekend. So just watch those, support the wrestling, and it is going to be absolutely glorious. And I'm just going to wrap up with one last thing. As you've seen, as a lot of you have probably seen, since it's January, since we've got the Royal Rumble coming up, it's time for the greatest game on Facebook that isn't Candy Crush or something.
Are you kidding? This tops it.
Stop it!
Don't
no Candy Crush! Don't even bring that up!
Don't even try and compare it. This is so much better.
Oh, well, I'm glad you think so. Yeah, it's the Royal Rumble game. It's the annual Royal Rumble game. It's a lot of fun. In case you've never played it, here are the rules real quick. First off, you join the page on Facebook. Post 3 numbers, 1 through 30, along with who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble match. You will earn points, depending on how many numbers some of your wrestlers come out at the numbers you choose. You will earn points per elimination. You'll earn points if the person wins. And you'll earn points if you choose the winner of the match. And at the end of the night, whoever earns the most points is the winner, and you will be forever acknowledged in the annals of the Hall of Fame and previous winners. So go ahead. It's linked. It should still be linked at this point on the main page of the Scars of Wrestling Facebook page. If not, just go on Facebook and look up the 2015 Royal Rumble game, or the WW, or the
You got that?
Yeah, I got it. The 2015 WWE Royal Rumble game. I believe that's what I put it down as. So yeah, look it up. Join all the fun. I think we had like 4,000 people come in during last year's game. It was so wild.
Thank you goes out to Dave Potter for last year.
So everyone listening to this, send out the links, share the links, and join up yourself. It's so much fun. It is literally, it makes the Royal Rumble, for me, easily one of the highlights of my year. It's so much fun. Join in the fun yourself.
Hopefully the actual match will be a little bit better this year.
Somehow, I don't think it'll become even if my worst nightmares come to pass.
It's still better than last year.
Bingo.
Let's just in general hope that 2015 as a whole delivers.
Well, you know what? It's
just looking back on this whole episode.
It certainly seems to be heading in the right direction already.
It seems to be looking up.
All right, let's hopefully see the light at that end of the tunnel.
Yeah. So, in closing, any other thoughts about the year that was?
Thank God it's over.
I'm just glad it's over.
It had some good moments, but they were all topped off with crap.
So, to everyone listening to this, what are your thoughts? Leave us a like or post some comments in the video description or on our Facebook page, Scholars of Wrestling Show. Let us know what you thought. What was your match of the year, your wrestler of the year, moment of the year, or just what you think the worst thing ever was. In any case, share us, like us, share us, subscribe to us. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled.
You're welcome.
See you all at Wrestle Kingdom, baby. We out.
Peace!